Queen of heaven.
Zealous compatriots, here is a very horrifying tale of what transpired between a man and his wife a little time ago, 10 years ago in the year 2014. So here I'm going to share with you one of the most dangerous tale of love and marriage, domestic abuse, and the reasons why people often tend to ignore some imminent things that should be noticeable in marriage. They tend to ignore them because of the joy they derive therein, or fear of public stigma of what people might say about them. So in southern Nigeria, about 10 years ago, in September 2014, there lived a man. So he got married to his wife over 25 years ago, and they have been living in kind of peace and understanding. And to some extent, they have been having the regular problems that are known among couples in married lifestyle. But after a long while in the marriage, the couple, having done the best they can to raise their own children, the woman has already entered menopause, and the man is quite above the age of 65. He is a palm wine tapper in the village who solely relies on tapping palm wines from pantries and selling the wines to people having ceremonies and also in the market, which is his own source of livelihood. But now, here is one of the most unimaginable reasons why a man would stoop so low, condescend so low to take the life of the woman he said that he has married, and he loved her from the very depth of his own heart. So these people I'm telling you about, having lived all this while, have understood the flaws of one another, where each of them is found wanting, and where they have their weakness and the best quality. But still, this does not stop them from having different and regular misunderstandings in the house, due to something that relates to conjugal responsibility of the wife to the man, and also on the other hand, the professional responsibility of the man to the wife, which has lingered over a period of time, that it has become something of a case between the couple. So, in August 2014, this man and his wife had quite a number of misunderstandings because of the reason of not living up to her responsibilities as a wife, and denying him his conjugal rights which he deserves from her. And the woman on his own side has claimed that the man has had a lot of mistresses outside their marriage, which should not be in the first place, and which is one of the reasons why she is not going to give him anything, because of the emotional instability that comes with coming upon such knowledge or information, and at the same time the jealousy and fear of contracting of venereal diseases from different sources and then giving it to her. So, due to her own reasons, she has rejected the advances of the man, and the man claiming that he is his wife. He deserves all this from her, even without restraint and without reserve. He deserves everything from her, whenever he wants to, however he wants to, and wherever he wants to, as long as it is still within the premises of the house. This thing has turned to a lot of misunderstanding among them, and the woman on her own side have been rejecting the advances of the man, citing the fact that she has finished what she has come to life to do, which is reason of reproduction, because most of us believe that the sole reason for sex is just for reproduction, and the man having his own personal urge and feelings that was built into him from nature could not resist the idea, and even upon the fact that he could not be satisfied by his mistresses which he had outside of their marriage, he still took it to another level. The wife citing the fact that he is not living up to his professional responsibility as the father of the house, even though that their children are all fully grown and they are only living with one, who is already a teenager at such a time, and thus he should be living up to the responsibilities and be providing for her those things that he provides for his 3 or 4 mistresses who are outside their marriage. Because in order to obtain something from them, he used to give them something in exchange, and those sweetnesses are what she deserves and what he owes him, what he owes her as a wife, and should not be giving it to another person. So it was for the reason of such a jealousy and fear of contracting of venereal diseases that made the wife decide that she is not going to have anything again to do with the man when it comes to sexual intercourse. But as this thing went for over a period of time, the man, having consulted a number of village heads, told them what was his sole reason. And the woman, who has already developed low sex drive and urge for him, and at the same time had less interest in him, has no longer any feeling for him, rejected all forms of appeal that was made of her, citing the fact again that he has had a lot of mistresses outside, and she could not bear in mind the fact that somebody else has taken over her husband, and she still have to accept him between herself. So as this thing went on for a period of time, on a particular day in the middle of the month of August, this man had decided that come what may, she is going to obtain from his wife what actually belongs to him. So in the middle of the night, in the middle of the month of August 2014, this man crept up to his wife in the middle of the night and then requested from her what actually he believes belongs to him. But due to the fact that they have already had a lot of misunderstanding and there's no longer this kind of emotional connection between one another, this man believes that what is of her should not be forcefully taken from her, which other people call a harassment. So this man claims that it's not an act of harassment, rather it was rather his, and because of the fact that it is his, he has the right to it whenever, wherever and however he wishes to. As this thing went on for a long period of time, it resulted in a fight between the couple in the middle of the night. The man tried to use violence because of the fact that he is more powerful than the lady, or the woman obviously tried to get in by force. But because of the fact that the lady herself has decided that she will not for any reason give in to this request. Zealous compatriots, having to go back to the story I was telling. So now that the man was trying to force himself on her, even though he was rightfully the husband and he is rightfully the wife, but the wife was not in the mood due to already foretold reasons. But the man, being full of the need and desire for what he has already wanted to force himself on her. So as they were struggling like this, the man wanted to force himself on the wife in the midnight, and the wife below him, struggling to free himself from her grasp. Either mistakenly or intentionally, struck her knee on his personality. Feeling both angry and wounded, he got up from her and then pointing his left hand at her, he stated, "You will pay for this." And when he said, "You will pay for this," he stomped out of the house. And the woman, replying on her own side, "That's just what you always say. That's what you always say," believing that it's one of those empty threats that he has always been giving to her over and over again and not keeping to it. So early in the morning, they began to have an exchange of words again over what already transpired at night. She was telling him that you have been laboring all day and then you couldn't afford to take care of your wife. Even with all the knives and machetes, you are always sharpening every day. You go out, you fetch palm wine, you fetch this and that, you sell them away and you spend them on your mistresses. You don't even for once have to spend a dime on your wife. You should be ashamed of yourself and the kind of life that you are living, because this is not what a typical responsible family man does. And he was telling him, if my knife cannot end what will take care of you, then it is going to end your life. The woman, not at the same time understanding what he was stating, laughed over it again and then went about her business. Then, within a space of 2 weeks after everything has happened, around 14th of September, the same year, 2014. The man, having made several attempts, as I stated earlier, but not being granted his request, told the woman that you will pay for this. You remember what I told you? You will pay for this. And the woman on her own side just replied as she always said, that is what you always say. The following day he told her that you will pay for this. So on the 16th of September 2014, the man came out in the morning. He was sharpening the machete and the knife as he was always doing. He has different ranges of them due to what they are needed: a long machete, a dagger, and also a small knife, and a number of them also. So as he was watering them on the wet stone and was sharpening them, he was telling the wife that you are going to pay for this. Zealous compatriots, as she was busy telling the man that he does not know what he's saying, that it's one of his empty threats that he has been issuing her over a long period of time, that if he thinks he's the man, he should give it a try and then see what would happen to him. So the man on his side felt that his ego has been bruised, that he is not being the man enough, but just a simple ordinary person who makes empty threats and was never able to keep his words. Then he told her that the same tongue with which you vomit those atrocities, I will cut them and give them to you to eat. So the lady felt that this is the man I have known for a long while. That's how he talks, empty threats every time. So she went about her daily business. So after some weeks, on the 16th of September 2014, they went about their daily business. But around the crepuscular hours of the day, around 6 o'clock, he told the 17-year-old son that he should prepare himself, that he is not sleeping in this compound today. And now the young man on his own side did not even understand what was happening. So being an obedient child that he was, he sent him away to go and sleep elsewhere in the neighbor's home. The boy, thinking that their parents were trying to find a means to reconcile, which is always the desire of every child, thought they were just about to enjoy their couples conjugal activities, which usually happens, but this one they wanted it special, and they wanted something private, because the man on his own side has started being very nice to the wife. So when the boy was sent away, he went and told the neighbors what he was sent to do, and then he went and slept in their house. So the lady on her own side did not even suspect anything. So having finished her daily activities, she took her bath, went and made her bed, and then slept in peace. But unfortunately for her, she does not know that one of those sleeps that he is having is going to be the very last of hers that she will ever happen in existence. And the decision taken by the man in the middle of the night is something that forever changed the views of the family and forever changed their destiny, including that of that very little 17-year-old. Being very nice and cool, behaved as if nothing is happening in his mind again. But as others were sleeping, this man was busy taking up many ideas in his mind. He came out and then observed his wife in the bed, and he went outside. There was bright moonshine, as you always know, during those days of the month when there are usually moonshines. So he went out and then received fresh breeze, came back again and observed his wife. He went out again, came back again. But below that, beneath the smiling face, I was harboring a lot of grudges that could change the view and fate of that family forever. So coming back for the third time, he went to where he stored, where he stores all his materials and the tools, and then brought out of the storeroom a 1 foot long dagger, which has been sharpened so much that it can be able to shave the hairs of a man who can afford a haircut, and at the same time a 36-inch long sword which he uses to cut the fronts and trim the body of the palm wine that he is tapping, and then he went and sat by the side of the bed and then tapped his wife on the laps and told her to wake up. Lily on her own side, being very drowsy and not remembering what actually happened before, was thinking that it was one of those conversations that couples used to have to find a way out of the problems of the family. Was asking her what is it exactly. So he told her that, do you remember all the insults that you have given to me, and the promise I made you, told her that you will pay for it. So the woman, not actually understanding what was happening, told her, why should you say that I will pay for it? Pay for what exactly? And then he told her that this is not a time for conversations and negotiations. So today, everything will end. So as he was saying everything will end, he lifted his hand, and the lady on her own side was about asking for mercy, trying to shout, please have mercy on me. But because of the fact that he was a stronger gender, he was able to press her down and then bury the 1 foot long sword, 1 foot long dagger into her chest. And still not being satisfied by what he has done, he took his 36-inch long sword and then slit it across her throat. And then lifting the very fingers with which she had struck his groin, caught the first 3 fingers of her hand and caught her tongue also, which he said, as he said, she used to insult him, and then placed everything on her chest, on her bleeding chest, then went and washed his weapons, took them back to where he has collected them, and then went outside and washed himself of the blood, and then sat outside, receiving the same fresh air. This man was not able to sleep. So early the following morning, the child, the 17-year-old boy who has been sent out to live, to spend the night with the neighbors, didn't actually understand what made his father make the decision. He was actually having some suspicious feelings inside of him, which he did not speak for fear of his own father and for the respect that he has already had for him. So when we came outside, he saw his dad seated outside, seated silently, and then he looked around, and there was not his mom. So as the child looked around, the mom was not around. He asked her, where is the mom? Where is my mom? And then he himself, having felt a sense of guilt over what he has done, told her that she is inside. So when he told that she is inside, the child was feeling kind of suspicious, because by this time of the day, the mom is usually known for coming out and then engaging in her daily activities, and she's not someone that she used to sleep so early till 7 o'clock in the morning. So he went inside and then looked on the bed, and then everywhere was covered in a pool of blood. And there were his mother's tongue and fingers lying on her blood-soaked chest, and blood was flowing on the ground. The child was very alarmed, and he came outside and said, what actually happened? So when he told him what actually happened, the dad looked up to him with very bloodshot eyes and told him that, don't talk anything. When the son left, he went out to the street and then called a number of local vigilantes who have been known to guard the village, and told him that something terrible has happened. Come and see. So now they followed him, carried him on a motorcycle, 2 or 3 of them, carried him on a motorcycle, and arriving at the house of the man, asked him what actually happened. And the man looked up at them and said, I have killed my wife. The men were finding it difficult to understand, and they asked this child, who has begun to wail, what actually happened. And he told them that he does not know. He has been sent out of the home to go and sleep in the neighbor's house, and then he came out and saw this. So everyone that went into the house were surprised by what they actually saw. So everyone goes in and comes out dumbfounded. They go in and come out dumbfounded. So now within a space of time, they began to make phone calls, what you can know and what you do not know. About hundreds of people filled the compound. So as was quite cultural in the village, they gathered a lot of ropes, tied the man up, laid him in the middle of the compound, and then began to ask him a lot of questions. The man began to make his confessions, and began to discover that this has been a long-running marital issue in the home, which has prompted the man to take such a cruel and unencourageable decision. So as everything was going, it was a very big crime to commit a murder in the village. And not even minding that the police station from the place was quite a far place, and they themselves, taking the laws into their own hands, began to aggressively beat the man. So as they were beating him, they were giving him the cut out body of the woman that he should eat it. They were giving him feces, they were giving him urine, they were giving him a lot of things that he should eat all of them. So as everything we are going, as human capacity can contain, the man on himself was already losing it. So now they discovered that if they should beat him any longer, this man is going to die. Now they made some number of phone calls to the police station, and then the policemen arrived later in the day around the evening, as was customary in Nigeria. So when they came, they now carried the man, finding out that he was already between life and death from what has beating that have been given to him. They carried him in their truck, and then going along the way to the police station, he told them that they should please excuse him, that he wants to ease himself. How can you want to ease yourself, Mr. Man? So as everything was going, they tried to pull to a break and watch him ease himself. The man slumped and died, and that was the end of it. And then can you just imagine what it would feel like for a child, an innocent little child who was having a very happy moment yesterday's evening? Within a matter of 20 hours in a day, he has lost all his parents, not to explicable aspect or natural occurrence, but due to human gruesome and bitter decision ever made. And then from that henceforth, rules have been made in the community that whoever should talk about a sword, a knife, or talking about murdering or killing somebody when they are even having a little or meaningless argument should see to the very worst of it. People who saw when things happened, we are very well amazed by the situation, and it has left a very kind of trauma in the people of the society, both those in the community, both those who saw it with their eyes and those who did not. That even by the mention of the man's name, this is one of the very few tales of crime that people have told.